Richey with Richey Property Management. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about tenant safety practices in your rental property. One of the things that I think a lot of landlords don't think about, and I think a lot of property managers don't do as a normal practice, is rekeying the property between tenants. In Virginia, it's not a law, and in a number of states it's not a law, but in about 17 states it is a requirement to rekey the rental properties between tenants. So my feeling is this: even though in Virginia it's not a law, it's still a really good idea. And it's a good idea because it protects you as a landlord against a lot of liability, and it keeps your tenant safe. Probably nothing will happen, but there's always the chance that somebody might have a key who was a previous tenant or a few tenants before and might come back and steal something or do something even far worse than stealing. And obviously no one wants that to happen. So there are some really cost-effective solutions that we know of here in Northern Virginia that to rekey the property, and it's probably the best money you'll ever spend. So think about that as an option if you own rental property, rekeying it every time you change over tenants. Another thing to do to protect your tenant is to make sure that all your smoke detectors are in proper working order and that carbon monoxide detectors are in working order. Carbon monoxide detectors are not an absolute requirement. However, they too are a good idea. Smoke detectors, of course, are required, and there are different requirements based on when the home was built. But again, my opinion is to go beyond. If you're in doubt, just put one in, and it can't hurt. But the other thing that you need to do on an ongoing basis is to check those detectors and make sure they're working. One thing people don't know is that to check a smoke detector, you need to do it with real smoke. There are products out there, canned smoke and things like that, that you can use, and there are companies out there that will come out and do that for you and certify them, the smoke detectors, and then you have third-party certification. So if something were to happen, again, you have that extra layer of protection. But you don't want to just go in there and push a button, because that's really only checking whether the battery is working. It's not checking whether the smoke detector itself is working properly. So keeping those smoke detectors and your carbon monoxide detectors in good order is really important. Another thing to do is to make sure that your systems in your house, like your water heater, your HVAC system, all of those are working, and your plumbing, heating, that those are working correctly, efficiently. Those aren't necessarily safety things. They can be if you have a leak in a furnace, say, and there's gas leaking, and the carbon monoxide can obviously cause death. But you want to just make sure that those systems are working so that they don't cause damage to the house and or to the tenants themselves or their belongings. And lastly, you want to make sure that your doors and all your locks are in proper working order so that there's never any reason for someone to come after you for negligence. But just make sure they all meet their requirements and that they're all functioning and locking properly. So those are just a couple things you can do to protect your tenant. If you have any questions or if you need any referrals to any good vendors, definitely give us a call. We're happy to help. Thanks.